Happy Tuesday to you. Well, I've been living the programmer's life. Excuse if you hear the hum of one of my computers in the background because it's hot, it's tired. But try to blank it out. So, living the programmer's life, been coding till 3 or 4 in the morning, waking up at 10 or 11, getting out of bed at noon. If you're a programmer, programmers work best at night. And why do they do that? Because they're not interrupted. If you work in an open workspace, it's very unlikely you're getting a lot of stuff done unless you're living, with Bose surround sound headphones on, with noise canceling ones, and something to prevent people from distracting you from getting your work done. Part of being a programmer is living in the zone. Most programmers who do really creative stuff, who are working on problems, their minds never go off. They get in the zone, they program, and when you get broken out of the zone, out of the programming zone, it takes 15, 20, or 30 minutes to get back into it. So, people wonder, why do programmers typically work at night or by themselves? It's because once you are in the zone, the programming zone, and you get knocked out of the zone by a phone call or by, a coworker or a cat or a dog or something, you can't get back into the zone. It takes too long. You lose your train of consciousness. And if you're charging someone $100 to $150 an hour, you don't want to get knocked out of the zone. You don't want to spend 30 or 40 minutes trying to get back into the zone. You want to be uninterrupted. You want to be in your cave. You want to be left alone so you can get your work done, because in most cases, if you need to find a solution for a problem, you're the one who's going to know about it, and you'll jump onto the net, or you'll look at some old code, or you'll do some research, and you will go out and you will query for the information, bring it back, and solve it. You're not going to run over and grab a Coke and chat with someone who's trying to work. If you're distracted, you don't want to be distracted by other people, and in many cases, you don't want to distract other people. Anyway, why do programmers work at night? Why do they work by themselves? Because it's an intense process. If you are really solving issues, it's an intense process. I'll give you an example. My personal fun project, my sneaker bot, okay, got it working on the dev environment, got it working in a standalone. I decided I was going to use JNLP for launching. JNLP is a standard for launching Java applications from the network. It's really cool because it helps manage things as you upgrade the code, the JNLP, as you upgrade the code on the server, it pulls down the fresh copy, and the next time someone runs it, you don't have to worry about releases. It's much like it's the predecessor to how the phones work now. I mean, when you run your Android software, it says, hey, there is an update. With JNLP, it just gives you the update. It is really cool. It keeps you up to date automatically. It is so great for deployment. Too bad they took it out of the standard version of Java in Java 9, but there's Open Web Start. Yay, that's the good stuff. The bad stuff is this. I've got some heavyweight components in my code base. What are heavyweight components? Java's a lightweight. It has swing. It's all done in the VM. Everything is in a sandbox. The heavyweight component reaches outside of the sandbox to native code. Well, I'm sure someone who is an absolute computer science whiz will tell me, Greg, your terminology is incorrect and you've screwed up. Well, that's okay. My terminology is incorrect. Java runs in a bytecode. It runs in a VM. It has its own sandbox. Heavyweight components reach out of the sandbox usually to native level. All right, so I've got native code running with my Java code. Cool, works on the standalone. Awesome. Works in the environment. Works in the development environment. Awesome. Web Start throws an error. I can't quite figure out what it is, because I have this layer of communication taking place, and Web Start does some management of deployment on the local computer. Can't quite figure out what the problem is. Getting close, but I can't quite figure it out. Hopefully, I've already wrote some code to do a workaround in Web Start. Used Web Start about 10 years ago in the military models and simulation code base I wrote. Actually, it's 11 years ago now. I'm surprised things haven't changed that much. I didn't go pull that code base back up and find out if if there was a there, if there was something I could use. I just sort of started from scratch because I thought, hey, things have updated in 12 years, and that code base wouldn't be usable. Well, probably would be. Anyway, so if you're a programmer and you're, again, not doing JavaScript and React, Ajax, or any of that fun stuff, you're down into Java, you're down into C, C++, heaven forbid you go into assembly. Oh my God, you've got my sympathy. If you're down into that area, you know what I'm talking about. You spend a lot of time chasing issues that most people aren't chasing. I was looking up how to solve this problem. There were about 3 people on the net talking about this problem. About 3 people. That means not a lot of people are doing it. Yeah, it's an interesting, fun experience. Means custom code, maybe some custom modification, the plug-in type model for the web start. Anyway, that's there. So, you want to be a programmer, okay? You got to get used to this stuff. I mean, there's a reason you're being paid so much money. And you are solving problems that, in some cases, other programmers have created. Such as these problems are poor documentation of your code base, of their code base. It's one thing to write code where you are the programmer and only you are going to use it and no one is going to see the source code but you. That's one thing. Do what you want. No one's going to see it. It's another thing where you make a piece of software code that integrates with other codes, such as a library or some sort of, a library or service, and you don't keep up your documentation. People, please, if you're using a repository model, a Maven, Gradle Maven repository model, update your documentation on how to even implement your plugin. Don't leave, Gradle is moving around so quickly that you can't leave a Gradle 3.5 implementation of your how to implement your code when we're running 6 and it's going to be 7 here, 6.62 and it's going to be 7 here. And by the time this video gets out, maybe that will be dated. What I'm trying to say is, if you are going to give your code to the community and you're going to say, here's my contribution to the community, please update your documentation on how to use it. We're not inside your mind. We don't know how you wrote this code. We only know that it connects, does something we want, and gives us something. If you can't document how that's done, then we actually have to go into your code and get into your mind space and figure out how you did it. And sometimes it's just easier to rewrite the code ourselves. Anyway, I appreciate everyone who's ever contributed to the open source community. It's great. Just document your stuff and say, hey, by the way, this is for, this version, or this only works with this version of JDK. A little rant here is, people aren't seeming to stay with standards anymore. I mean, I know that's a boring thing. Us old programmers, we had standards we lived by. There were reference models, and when we give, again, this is not talking about for your own personal code that you're going to use inside your own enterprise or your own space and you're giving things out. This is talking about being part of a connected API or community. Please try to stay with standards. Don't try to do something fun or sexy just because it's cute. Try to find a standard that you have and you stay with it. That way we can try to get inside your mindset and work with you. But anyway, backing away from that, being a programmer is now about trying to bring bunches of different codes and problems together and make them all work. And it's not easy. And that's why you get paid the big bucks, and that's why you lose your hair, and that's why you go gray. But then that's why you can buy a car like that eventually, or if not that one, something in the couple $100,000 range. Anyway, the life of a programmer, a little bit about my sneaker bot, but generally speaking, the life of a programmer. And if you enjoy solving hard problems and being frustrated and not getting good sleep and not sleeping on a good rhythm, and you're not, and I'm not talking about doing JavaScript and that sort of stuff. I'm talking about Java, C, Objective-C, C++, Rust, that sort of fun stuff. This might be good for you. Anyway, that's my thought for today. You have a good one. Happy Tuesday to you.